8 is great.
Let's make this a great episode. Just in number 8. We can't let Kobe and Obi and those guys down.
Elevation on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Elevation.
We are back in. It's episode 8 of The Elevation on Fan Day Nation. I am Danny Williams. Mark Jackson right here. That's Coach Jeff Gersh.
8's my favorite number.
Episode 8. During episode 7, we realized, hey, as we're naming the numbers of the episodes, which we decided should we do or not, at least through the first 100 episodes, even to 99, Wayne Gretzky, we can come up with the greatest athlete at that number. You know, we did.
Who's your greatest 8?
It's too hard.
We're going through a banging list.
I'm talking to our listeners, our followers, our loyal watchers.
Love yours. I got it. Who's yours?
Comment.
Hey, and bam.
Our brothers. We're living together right now. We're getting our lives together. So when you think of number 8, it starts with Kobe, who my 4-year-old, Gio, 4-year-old, when he throws something or shoots something because of JJ's big brother goes, Kobe, right now, at this time of his life.
Wow.
That's how transcendent
The black
the greatest third, fourth, fifth greatest player of all time is 8.
Man, when it comes to quarterbacks, there's Steve Young, Troy Aikman, and Lamar Jackson.
and Gary Kubiak.
Just to name a few. And Gary Kubiak?
4.
Aggies me, man.
Aggies me.
Yeah,
Look,
I got to throw Gary in there.
That's 4 all-time great quarterbacks alone, and then you got Cal Ripken Jr., Yogi Berra's an 8. Carl Yastrzemski and Joe Morgan are 8s. 8 might be, and we'll have to think about this as we move forward and go along. 8 might be the greatest number that to be worn in sports in a jersey. Oh, and we didn't even say the second greatest 8 of all time. Maybe you've heard of him. He's only the greatest goal scorer in the history of the National Hockey League.
Ovi?
Ovechkin.
Alexander Ovechkin is an 8 too, man. 8 is bonkers.
8 is great.
Let's make this a great episode. Just in number 8. We can't let Kobe and Obi and those guys down.
Elevation on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Elevation.
Okay, so things are happening right now, at least locally, and then we got the NBA. We're talking about conference final games that are happening. New York Pacers has been a great series, and what's happening with the Thunder in Minnesota, just hanging in there, just trying to, again, hey, did the Nuggets give the Thunder a better run than Minnesota, who's down now 3-1 to the Thunder, a better run for their money? We could talk about that too, but the Denver Nuggets have a new head coach, okay? David Adelman.
Who's the new head coach?
It's David Adelman.
No, he's the old head coach.
No,
Who's the new one?
You're thinking of Rick Adelman, his old man, his mom.
Old man.
Who was the coach of the Page, C. Webb, Bibby, Jason Williams, White Chocolate, Sacramento Kings.
White chocolate on the ski.
Kings, dog.
Ass.
I thought that was the 76.
Hey, the King is here.
The king is here.
That's what Marquette King used to say. Remember the punter?
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of controversial. So David Adelman is a top assistant for the Nuggets for a couple years.
Did we know
that he was a top assistant?
that he's going to be hired?
Here? Yeah. What do you
know
mean by
it?
that? Ask deeper.
Didn't we kind of know that?
I thought maybe they were going to dip their toes in the magic waters of Lake Minnetonka and see what's out there.
I thought that was your big take
Mike,
this week.
I mean,
Was that
they don't want to let him get loose, but they could have
Walmart
interviewed a couple guys. They could have maybe.
listen, so for for just, I don't know, what's the word I'm looking for? Theatrics. Why play the charade? Yeah. Why play that charade game of, hey, let's go interview this guy and let's get Vogel in here and Butenhoser and we have to interview a guy.
Because the fans love that. Fans love that.
They do. Fans love that.
Yeah.
Hey, podcast guys like us, radio guys like us, we love that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But we are also this podcast.
This
The
is more than
Elevation
a
on Fan Day
podcast.
Nation.
This is a show.
This is the yeah.
It's the one thing we want to do is we want to keep it very real with you guys. We're not going to lie to you.
We're going to keep it fresh.
You want me to lie to you or do you want me to tell you the truth?
Tell them the truth, Danny.
can't handle the truth.
Who's going to do it? You, Lieutenant Weinberg? You want me on that wall. You need me on that wall. You're damn right I did. I'm sorry. Remember that one? Sorry.
Man, few good man.
There we go.
Which we are.
That's true. That was...
Is David Adelman,
we changed?
is he more of a Weinberg? Is David Adelman a Weinberg, or is he a Jack Nicholson?
Well, he looks like the guy from Mad Magazine.
Right.
He does. Andy.
Alfred E. Newman.
Now look at you. Hey, good for you, buddy. He looks like that guy. And then I've heard he looks like a beaver or some kind of chipmunk, hairy / aquatic natural water animal. Otter.
There you go.
There's an...
I was going to say like a
We're
hairy,
going on the show. We come up
hairy
with everything.
parsnip.
We're getting down to the bottom of it. So we're going to see this. If there's a list of like the pros and the cons of like, is this a in-the-house Rockies-esque Mumford hire? No, this guy was going to be hired by another NBA team eventually, whether it be here or some, for sure. It's a matter of fact.
Soon, too.
He's had a bunch of interviews.
Soon.
And do you know what? After 2 years ago, the Denver Nuggets had won that championship. Jamal Murray did an interview where they're talking about Coach Adelman and him 2 years ago receiving accolades, invitations, interviews from other. He said, "Oh no, you don't want him. He's garbage. He's trash. He's a bad guy." That's how much Jamal Murray kind of loved on that coach, and that's 2 years ago. Things have changed quickly in Nuggets Nation here in 2 years.
That's like when people ask about moving to Colorado, you're like, yeah, you don't want to come here.
Yeah, no.
But he has overcome
the driving. Don't do it.
Yeah, Coach Adelman has overcome a few things that sometimes may get in the way of you being a NBA head coach, of the nepotism. Where like, oh, he's a coach of another guy, so he's supposed to be good like Belichick's son. You know what I mean? Whatever.
Or a Bickerstaff.
And then he's also overcome looking really goofy. He looks... his face.
Like a Magoo.
Yeah. It's like, I want to take his face off. You know when we face off and replace it with Nick Cage.
John Travolta. Oh, he's like so weird.
He's like so weird. It's like he's taking his face off.
Mark, what do you think of that?
What do you think about What do you think about the son of a former NBA coach, the nepotism stuff, the hiring an assistant here instead of going outside of the organization? Give me a couple thoughts on that.
I would have liked to see them shop around, although they weren't shopping. Browse.
Yeah.
Could have window shopped. Just it may be like you said, it's a charade.
Window dressing.
But isn't life a charade? I think William Shakespeare said that.
Man.
Life is but a charade.
You're so
all
deep.
beer.
That is so good.
Life is a carnival.
I think it's really...
That's the band.
Is that from The Greatest Showman? What movie you guys like?
Oh, The Greatest Showman.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that's a banger.
Adelman. All right, we'll see. Yeah, we wanted to see, I think all the Nuggets, everybody that would love to see something change. So from the front office to the players.
An outsider.
Yeah, but that stays the same.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, we're going to get much of the same.
I mean, they made a huge change, if you think about it. They got rid of their GM and their head coach, and they didn't make a huge change by keeping an in-house Monfort-style hiring. But here's what I think is interesting. Malone last year got you to Game 7 of the conference semifinals.
Yeah.
And lost a 20-point lead. Adelman got you to Game 7 of the conference semifinals and got his ass beat by 30.
Yeah.
So you know what I mean? You just got a poor man's Mike Malone sitting right there in your backyard.
Why can't he be a new school? Okay, watch this one.
I mean, you have Mike Malone.
Watch
right there.
this.
You got the next best.
The Nuggets obviously have talent.
Watch this, Mark. And I need your answer and your thoughts on this. Michael Malone got a little too stepdaddy, I'm going to come down on you with these guys, giving that, I call that stepdaddy treatment a little bit. And it rubbed two or three or four guys who might have went to Calvin Booth or to Josh Kroenke and said, hey, this guy's not going to kind of talk to me like that. I helped you guys win this ship, all this kind of stuff. We don't know exactly what the kind of toxicity and turmoil that was going on within the organization. But I do know that David Adelman is 15 years younger than Michael Malone, is going to treat these guys like a big brother, maybe more of like a peer companion guy, as opposed to what I call the stepdaddy treatment that Michael Malone gave these guys.
Millennials. I mean, how do you deal with it? I mean, with any other, I think, class of player in the NBA, the NFL, everything's kind of progressing now, even in our country. When you're talking to your kids, how do you talk to your kids? It's not the same slap mouth, hard love that you're talking about.
Trevor Todd?
Your stepfather. Your father should talk to you in the manner if you're not performing. So if they're not performing and they're belly aching about that, I get it. So that's just another degree of coaching acumen that you have to have nowadays is how do I get someone to perform unlike a Bill Belichick, unlike who is the San Antonio coach?
Popovich.
Where the guy's bought into a system and he could talk to him honestly and openly and they perform. It's not that kind of game anymore.
Jeff, it's funny that you bring up Popovich. Let's just say we bring in Popovich.
Yeah.
We bring him in.
Ooh.
All these guys would have to learn how to deal with Pop. Pop would have to learn how to deal with all these guys. But you've got Adelman in the building. He knows these guys, and they know him. You actually saved yourself probably 3 or 4 months of headaches, feeling out processes. Dude, the guy won like 80% of his games coming down the stretch. He could have been in that play-in series. He won 3 down the stretch to get in to the, 4 seed? Home games? I mean,
if we're going to get right to it, and as
relationship-wise, I think it's good for the team.
As Nick Cage once said in the movie The Rock, let's cut through the chit-chat, a-holes. Okay?
Carla was the prom queen.
What I'm saying here is if Calvin Booth and Michael Malone could not coexist, one was going to try to leverage the players against each other, then against Josh Kroenke and the ownership as well. And there's like a 3-way dynamic of just no one really getting along. Calvin Booth reportedly wanted to fire Michael Malone for a long time. Michael Malone saying, hey, ownership, you're going to choose this guy or you're going to choose me? What's happening here? Instead, they got both of the guys in the room and they go, fire. Okay?
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is, what the Nuggets are trying to do, if you're going to go in-house, and then you're going to bring an in-house general manager in here, and that's something else to talk about. We haven't mentioned one time. They decided to go hire the coach first before the general manager. Which means they're probably going in-house general manager.
Right. Well, they're definitely not going upper echelon.
Or it means Josh Kroenke is going to be kind of general managing with the young general manager. They're making basketball decisions together.
That turned maybe Jerry Jones-ish.
Watch this. Coach Adelman, young coach. Maybe you can control him a little bit. He's happy to maybe have the job, the type of thing. So there's lots of pros and cons and ways to look at this thing. But on the flip, when I just kind of painted a negative picture, if the biggest problems were the Michael Malone and Calvin Booth relationship, and you had to instead of pick one or the other, and the Nuggets were looking at like a really proactive kind of like badass, didn't choose a side and chose the Jokic and the future of the Nuggets as a whole by firing both of those guys at the same time. It doesn't feel like that right now, but it could end up playing out like that.
Good. That's the positive side, is what you're saying.
Positive and negative, however you want to look at it.
What's the worst that could happen? You tell me, Mark.
What's the worst that could happen?
They kept the guy. They didn't shop around. They kept the guy.
There's so much more than just hiring the coach.
It can't go Rockies bad, can it?
I don't think so, because you have too much talent on it.
The Rockies could honestly win 80 straight games and still be 20 out.
Yeah.
Believe that.
You did the math on that?
Well, I mean,
holy smokes.
80 straight would put about 89 games.
You can't waste valuable podcast time.
Oh, I know, but my point is
they are historically
that's my point. The Nuggets couldn't be that bad, but what's the worst that could happen to this team because they hired Adelman and not a GM?
First,
the worst thing that could happen.
Yeah, I mean, we all talk about the best thing, but could it go sideways?
Jeff?
No,
not sideways.
By the All-Star break?
It's a play-in game, team next year.
So the worst thing they still make the playoffs.
The worst that can happen is, I love the way you just said that.
Yeah.
He's in a positive way, and you're kind of saying, well, they kind of tank out and they're down in the play-in. I'm saying is the worst-case situation is it's the same thing next year. Another second-round exit where you're losing by this much to a team that's going to go on to win a championship, or if you would have beat the team in the 7th game, in the 4th quarter, or the second half of one of these games, you propel yourself to another championship and then potentially like a dynasty. Okay, listen. Going to set up a break here. This is some good conversation. I'm loving this conversation here.
Guys, buy when we're having this much fun.
No, it is. And we can go in a lot of different directions from, what do they do next in the offseason? And watch this one here, and we'll set up the next segment with this one. I don't know if anything happens here from the firing of Coach Malone to the hiring of Coach Adelman without Jokic's approval, not his request. Fire coach, and this coach no good coach for me, coach.
His feelings.
I am Denver Nugget MVP basketball players, and I will not be coached by guy who yell at all my teammates.
I don't think is Jokic that guy.
Well, he's not asking.
He used to be,
but do you know what? He's probably a man of respect. His dad worked for someone in a company for 25 years when he respected the boss. So if the boss says, we're going to want to fire this guy, and what do you think about it? He says, you do a job you must do. Tough decision to make.
You want me to send brothers? I have to.
Jokic, move forward and play basketball and that kind of stuff. So I'm not saying Jokic asked for it, but he might have not said, don't do it.
Wait, is this your
gotta do?
Is this your tease?
Yeah, it's a tease.
Yeah, tease. Because they're disorganized is what they are.
Okay, speaking of disorganized, man, you're such a tease.
You're right there, man.
You're such a tease.
What a tease.
Okay, so we have this problem right now. My wife, we have this big 3-car garage, extravagant luxury home mansion. And on one side, I have like this one little side of like my stuff. It's my stuff. But it is like unorganized. I got some memorabilia. I got some sports cards. I got this really cool lockers, like team lockers. My stuff can be organized very well. I just physically and maybe even mentally can't figure out a way and bring myself to do this.
No.
So, Mark, do you have anybody who can help me? Because your stuff here, I've seen your old stuff.
Mess.
Now,
this new stuff?
This new stuff is like, let's do a quick, let's do the full 360.
Just a white glove treatment around here.
No, but Mark,
garage, basement, or office?
Yeah.
If your partner is on your case, intentional spaces can help. Now, in this case, it doesn't have to be a partner. If you're a single guy, like moi, and you just have problems, like Danny said, throwing away that stuff, you're kind of a hoarder. I said hoarder.
Okay.
Hoarder.
Yeah, you're kind of a
I didn't know where you're going with that.
There's no there's no judgment with intentional spaces. They'll come help you to get that thing organized quickly, efficiently, and for little money out of your pocket so you can make it happen. Sometimes I used to think, man, that would cost a $5 for me to get this taken care of. But my girl Ramona, Latia, over there, Intentional Spaces, they will hook you up. IntentionalSpacesDenver.com.
Keep the peace.
Intentional Spaces.
I don't know if he wrote that for me or if they listen to the show. Yeah. But does your script say if you have a mean wife who wants your messes cleaned up or you kicked out, call IntentionalSpacesDenver.com?
Keep the peace.
Yeah, it just says if you got pieces all over the place, right?
Yeah.
Keep the peace.
Yeah. All right. So we're going to set up a break. We're going to come back. There's lots of things happening, from more Nuggets conversation to transitioning into some Denver Broncos conversation. That is, man, that stuff's just around the corner, Mark. I want to ask you as a former player, the little mini camp stuff, the OTAs, when do you start trying to get your body right? When do you start trying to get your mentals right? And when do you try to get your chickens right? Got to get your chickens right, your mentals, and that money's right. So we'll talk about, as the Broncos are gearing up, the young Broncos, the young Denver Broncos, from top to bottom, they're one of the youngest teams in the league.
10-win Broncos.
11-win Broncos?
Well, weren't they 10 last year, though?
Last year.
How do we not build off that? They're 10 wins last year as a bunch of young pups. We got Evan Ingram now. We added a defensive star.
I was just at a graduation party with the Kansas City Chief, man.
And
2 of them.
Yes.
No thanks.
What kind of sick party was this?
Talk about that.
I'm leaving.
On
the other side. It's the elevation.
Mark.
On Fan Day Nation. We are back in segment 2, episode 8, The Elevation on Fan Day Nation. Mark Jackson right here, Jeff Gersh, Coach Gersh. I am Danny Williams here.
Coach G.
Transitioning, we'll go back to some Nuggets here in a little bit there. I liked our conversation there about just you go head coach first. You're trying to figure out general managership. That probably looks like an in-house hire with the combination of maybe Josh Kroenke and making some basketball decisions as well, which he has here in the past. And we can talk about the pros and cons of that later on. But I got some good Broncos stuff.
Ooh.
Hot stuff.
Have you been working at other stations around town we need to know about?
Not at all. I'd never cheat on you guys.
Not even for 4 hours a day?
Not at all.
What are you doing with your fingers over there, Danny?
Nothing.
Well, anyway.
I will say this. The Broncos are moving forward, ascending proper steps. They didn't leverage themselves by T. Higgins or Cooper Kupp and, go try to make some splashy defensive $100 million Randy Gregory edition for a team that's not really ready to win yet. They're doing it young. They're building. The success they had last year, they probably took 2 steps, jumped a step to get to 10 wins in the playoffs last year. But they have 3 guys right now on their roster who are all due to be paid, okay?
Yeah.
In different ways and shapes and forms. And I want to know who of these 3 crucially, critically important Denver Broncos players should be financially compensated first. Who's the most important to the team? I don't know if you want to throw the word deserves around, but let me tell you, Cortland Sutton, 29 years old,
Paid.
looking for just some real money for the last 2 or 3 years of his prime, has played for the Drew Locks and the Flaccos and the Bums and the Teddy Bridgewaters. And do you know what he does every single year? 70 catches, 6, 7, 8 touchdowns, pushes 1,000 yards. He's done that 2 or 3 times. He's an unsung hero. Next.
Hold on.
He's paid, though.
Mark, you like that?
No, he's not paid yet.
We're out there.
I thought that was a done deal.
Not at all. Last year, they gave him a little.
I thought they gave him a little, they spiced it up.
Last year.
Keep around for years.
They incentivized him last year
Okay.
on a 1-year little
I'll
bump.
stand corrected.
No, you're good. That's what we do around here. We're a team.
Yeah.
So Cortland Sutton, and
Is he valuable, though, to you? I mean, do you keep him around?
He is. I mean, in a receiver
Pay a
room
little
where you
extra for
have
that?
no standout receivers. Marvin Mims made a breakout last year.
it's just a young guy.
Bele's young. You got Bryant that's coming in that they have a
Yup.
lot of hopes for.
But what are you without
Franklin.
Cortland Sutton? You're the worst wide receiver room in the NFL without him. With
Yep.
him, you're decent.
Respect it.
Yeah,
You're decent, as the kids say on the streets.
They say
Dece.
decent.
Decent. DC. Yeah, they're decent.
It didn't sound very decent.
Don't go with it?
Nah.
Okay.
We have an older listener.
So we're keeping him around? We're spending extra. Do we get?
No, stop.
No.
Don't decide.
Don't-
I got 2 other
yeah.
guys who are
Yeah,
up for
yeah.
contracts. So the Denver Broncos a couple of years ago let Draymond Jones walk to Seattle, didn't want to pay him. In return, signed a guy who came with Vance Joseph. It's a reboot. It's not a
reboot.
Okay. In Zach Allen.
Zach Allen.
Zach Allen was a little bit cheaper. They thought they got him on the cheap. Zach Allen in the first year on a bad Broncos team was just a dude.
Yeah.
Last year, Zach Allen was a quiet defensive player of the year, top 15 defensive player guy candidate. He plays a weird position like Malik Jackson and Derek Wolfe, where it's not like 10 sacks. Look at these sacks. J.J. Watt, the Watt brother, or Watt in general, is the only guy to get you those kind of crazy numbers. But Zach Allen was so crazy important for what the Broncos did last year, the success he had. He needs and wants a new contract too.
I agree. He deserves to be paid. If you look at their edge rushers, so Jonathan Cooper,
Yeah.
Nick Bonito, who's
Yes.
probably one of the most underrated
Say
guys.
Nick Bonito can save you. That's the old saying.
That's right.
Nick
Oh,
Bonito.
You say Nick Bonito, check your libido, and roll to the church in your new
tuxedo.
Okay?
When I think of Zach Allen, I kind of think of Jared Allen. I mean, I know Jared's on the outside, but man, just a guy that controls that front seven.
All white guys look the same.
And he's crackers.
Okay, watch this.
Brother.
Last but not least, somebody mentioned him a couple of times. We've rhymed on his game several times. Nick Bonito is the last guy who's on this rookie contract who Jeff's going to give me some credit on this one. He was an 8 sack specialist in 2024. we're doing radio just months prior to this moment right here.
Yeah.
And I said, hey, this guy Benito is going to ascend this year. He's got something extra. He's going to break himself free from the Baron Brownings. Yeah. And it's going to be something special. Well, Benito had an incredible season, was, poor man's Defensive Player of the Year candidate, big moments. Benito, Allen, Courtland Sutton, you know what? Two of these three guys will get new contracts before the season starts. One will have to sit and wait and play under the current deal. Who deserves it most, is going to get it, is the most valuable to the Broncos. Here's another way to look at it. Last one, and you guys go. If you took a certain one of those three guys off of the roster, where's the glaring hole and where does it hurt them the most? Mark, go.
Oh, it's definitely going to hurt the most if you don't have Courtland Sutton in the lineup. We talked about that earlier, the fact that receiving room is so young and unproven. So from, again, Franklin to Mims, who's second oldest in that room? Vele, maybe? Is Vele?
Oh, no. His oldest receiver? Oh, my gosh.
I mean,
like 23-year-old.
Well, he's saying who's the second oldest guy behind Sutton.
That's what I'm saying. It's just incredible to kind of say that. Do you know who the next number 2 receiver is as a whole? And it's Evan Ingram.
Oh, as far as receiving, yeah.
A guy who's never caught a pass here and
at the tight end position.
Is a 30-year-old tight end. He'd be your number. If Courtland Sutton was to not work out, which he will work out, Evan Ingram is your answer.
You know what's cool about offense, Mark?
Yeah.
They scores points. You know what's cool about defense?
You have a good offense.
They win championships. Unfortunately for Courtland Sutton, he's got to be dead last. DFL in my book.
What
you got to
the
go
Sigma?
You got to go with the 2 dogs on D that are going to stop them. And I think the more I learn about Sean Payton, the more I realize he's a defensive coach first. He may have been an OC. He may have had Drew Brees. He may have done these things, but man, that boy loves defense first, and so do I. Coach G loves defense. I'm going Courtland Sutton. Sorry, baby, you got that money last year. You're going to have to wait another year.
So who's getting it, Benito or Allen?
Well, those are the 2 guys that get it.
Said Benito and Allen.
If you had to pick one of the 2 to give a huge new deal to in Benito.
But wait a minute, you said 2 of the 3.
I thought you said 2 of the 3.
I did, but now I'm narrowing it down. You gave me 2, now I'm narrowing it down.
In that case, I would give it to Bonito.
Why?
I think his ability to make negative plays happen. I think he flies around. We all kind of liked him, but even when you said it, I remember laughing at your ass.
You did.
Me and Becker laughed at your ass.
Laughed in my face.
We were like, he's a backup, bro. That chump's a backup. Yeah.
Listen, you do it like a belly laugh or
It's not my greatest stuff of all time. I just saw him as like an athlete who was ascending, who I knew was going to get a bunch more touches. I saw Baron Browning as the guy who was more gimmicky a little bit, and Benito I just saw was like a dog. I like when you hear a guy speak, I always say, like, listen to a press conference. Before you act like you know a guy, hear him talk one time. And if he sounds like a freaking dummy, a fool who don't get it, and just a guy who's, giving football speak, that's one way to judge a guy. And that doesn't mean a guy can't be great, just because he ain't a good speaker. But when you hear an eloquent talker and a guy who's motivated, gets it, appreciates the opportunity, and knows, what
football IQ.
What can be, Benito he had those kind of makings, and that's deep stuff, deep cuts, deep thoughts. Jeff, I saw it coming, bro.
Wasn't it Benito that had the on the double reverse pass?
Yes,
back to the quarterback.
One of the best plays in the NFL the whole season.
Yeah.
Maybe the most beautiful defensive play in the entire season.
And that shows football IQ.
Yep.
I mean, the play's going to the other side of the field. He sees something setting up over here, spies it out.
So we had one Courtland Sutton.
Yeah.
We had one Nick Benito.
Yep.
I am now going to make the case for Zach Allen, because when the Broncos were at their best, at least their last, losers always whine about giving their best. Winners go home and the prom queen.
Kyle was the prom queen. Back to the Rock.
Yeah, see, it always comes back to
it always comes back to you, Sean Connery.
What was it saying?
Nick Cage? I don't know.
Oh, yes, I'm going to make my case for Zach Allen. The last time the Denver Broncos were really special and were really good, the Von Millers of the world were carrying them to championships. But who was kind of in the middle there causing chaos? It was Malik Jackson. It was Derek Wolfe. These guys just cut from the same Jonathan Cooper and Zach Allen cloth. You're not measured at that position by stats and sacks unless you're JJ or TJ Watt, okay? But Zach Allen has been such a menace and such like, man, I'll tell you, he makes the defense look and feel like this is a top 5 or 6 or 7 defense. So if you take him away, there's a glaring kind of hole that maybe you cannot replace because that position is few and far between of special guys. Nick Bonito, here's my fear in Bonito. And we don't do negative stuff here, but we keep it real because I'm keeping it real.
Keep it real.
2 years ago, Bonito was an 8-sack guy kind of specialist, okay, as a part of a rotation. In 2024, he ascended into stardom. So is he now? He has 1 year of true stardom. Do you reward that with $25 million and pay that guy a lot of money? Or is he in 2025 going to be maybe not a regression, but a combination of the superstar he was in 2024 and the 8-sack guy he was in 2023? He comes back slightly down to earth. We don't want to overpay guys, and we don't have to pay Bonito. He's under contract. Maybe you make his ass go earn it one more year. Does he play pissed off the whole year? Is he pissed?
I'm pissed.
That's good.
I'm Josh Rosen.
But do you know
I
what?
like pissed. But I also like rewarding people for their effort.
Well, maybe you tell him if he comes back in 2025 and is the same Nick Bonito, we'll make you a top 5 at your position paid guy in the league, and we won't nickel and dime you and make you top 10 and cut you down and try to arbitrate you and make you feel like you're not.
Well, they do that. Though. I mean, football is such a strange sport in that injury is very prominent. There is we used to say this in the locker room, there's a 100% chance that you're going to get injured in a game of football. So guys are always playing for now. They're not playing for next year. They're playing for now. And we get paid in arrears, unfortunately. It's not until you've actually produced that you can get paid, and ask for those bumps in your salary and in your contract. So
Mark's been hitting the head so many times. He was calling me. He goes, "Hey, John." And I was like, "John?" He was like, "Yeah, LA7, let's go. Throw me that rock deep." And I go, "Good for you, bud." And then he thinks Mark.
He goes, plan B?
He does look like.
There is no plan B.
Who was a player you played with who had a nice mustache? Like Jeff. Give me one player. Tom Selleck. Okay.
The guy
Selleck? P.I.?
Yeah.
I said he looked like a Selleck. Remember that?
Thank you.
I said he looked like a poor man Selleck. And I actually meant I said something a little.
Poor man.
I said he looked like a poor man Selleck. Dun, 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 dun,
It's nice. It's great to have the stash back.
Who's the guy?
Should I be coaching Little A?
Who was the sidekick guy? The black guy. He was a football player. I can't think of this guy.
Sidekick?
There was
Yeah.
So many.
You're thinking
back to PI.
You're thinking of Webster.
No. TJ.
You're thinking of
Even by initials.
Manuel.
Somebody help me. Write it in the comments.
Moody.
Please. Tell me who Lewis. Help these guys out. Period.
Manuel Lewis.
Good Lord.
That's pretty funny. Okay, do you know what? Let's set up a break on time as usual. Before we do, Nico Stones. Check this out.
About that time.
My stone, I got it at Nico. So I've been with my wife so many years that if you don't do after a certain amount of time a ring upgrade, they want a divorce. So
Stay married.
Go to Nico Stones. You do the ring upgrade. You do the complimentary boom, the necklace. I told you my wife's into these. She's been rocking these bracelets right now. And, whether you got a very expensive, whether your portfolio is doing strong to quite strong, or whether you're on like a limited kind of budget, Nico's has made it work for me. I have 2 daughters. Whenever I buy a piece of jewelry from Nico's for birthdays and anniversaries, and I try to make these, I'm not buying toys, junk stuff, crap. As my daughters get older, my wife gets younger.
She's young.
As my wife gets
You have a
younger.
young wife.
Yeah.
Not gotten older one day.
Thank you. I try to buy things of, meaningful value, and there's nothing better than buying a piece of jewelry that hits.
Yeah, whether it's a bracelet,
Nico's has got it
Ring.
every time for us.
you got it. Make a fashion statement without being too bold.
Jeff, real quick here.
Oh, you make the
Nico's.
statement without even saying a word.
There you go.
Your wife,
Diamond do the talk.
does she do necklace? Does she like to rock those rings? Does she rock a toe ring?
Does she go with the ears? She likes to go with the ears. She's got a beautiful smile, beautiful eyes, right?
Beautiful
She
woman.
likes to keep.
Whoa.
You like the hoops or
I think some girls like your eyes down here in the cleavage. I think Amy, my lovely wife, likes the eyes up by the ears and by the beautiful smile there.
Stop it.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go to break. Come back.
Her stones are neat.
Get into segment number 3. We have a couple things we're going to squeeze into one final segment of episode 8 of the podcast. Ovechkin's looking pretty good for 8.
It might be.
You got Kobe.
No.
Steve Young. Troy Aikman's got 3 Super Bowls.
30 seconds. We each have 10 seconds or less. Kobe, rank him all time. Jeff, go. 10 seconds.
2. Number 2 all time, Kobe.
Behind.
Whoa.
Mike.
You have extra 5 seconds from Jeff's quick answer. You have 15 seconds. Go.
Oh, I'm
Rank Cobes.
gonna go with 3. I think the greatest player of all time has to be Wilt Chamberlain. I love Michael Jordan from Chicago. Love the Bulls, but I'm gonna put him right in front of Kobe. Kobe's just determination, his work ethic, what he did even outside the court, like you said, transcended the game.
Jeff rocked me. I'm usually very confident in the decisions and things that I say when we're talking about sports.
I was about to put Larry Bird number 2, but
you just changed the game for me. The individuality of the skill set of Kobe, what he did alone, makes you put Jordan up here and then LeBron or Kobe and LeBron.
Ignoring Wilt Chamberlain, only guy to ever score 100 points.
Well, he
led the league in every category, even in assists. In the history of the basketball league. You guys are too young, I guess. And I didn't really watch a lot of.
We don't put Jim Brown in the best running backs either, because it was he's his own lacrosse.
Watch this. We extended the segment. We're supposed to do this, but watch this, Jeff. What kind of athletes? What kind of people? Profession was the type of people that Wilt Chamberlain was playing against? They were what? Plumbers and firemen. He was going against plumbers and firemen.
So you're saying
he wasn't going against KG.
The link their size, your skill is based on your competition.
Hey, Mr. Chamberlain, good dunk there.
Hey, Mr. Chamberlain, great stuff.
Super dunk.
I like it when you dunked it right on my forehead.
Hershey welcomes you. Here's 100 points.
Well, anyways, creatism makes for an argument.
I got Larry Bird at number 3.
Okay, that's tough. I don't want to do it anymore. Let's go to break. Come back. We got a little bit more Nugget stuff, a tiny bit of Av stuff. I got a historical take for you all time, and I have a story from Mark Jackson as the Broncos are nearing minis, training camp, all that kind of stuff is coming up back on the other side. Final segment, episode 8 of The Elevation on Fan Day Nation.
Kobe.
Jeff Gerst over here, Mark Jackson right in the middle. I am Danny Williams. We're having some fun. We're getting a lot in. There's a couple things in this final segment that we must get in here before we kind of move forward. For one, we talked about the Broncos in the last segment. A couple guys who are looking to get cashed in, properly paid, compensated, or that first big money. And it's all 3 of the Benitos, the Allens, and the Cortland Suttons are looking for it at different tiers and measures and, points in kind of their Broncos career. But all 3 of those guys kind of super integral to the success that they're going to have in 2025. Okay, so there is, you mentioned Pat Bryant. Yeah, 3rd round draft pick from the Broncos, a receiver who...
Illinois looks good in orange.
Yeah, who has been compared to Michael Thomas by Coach Payton. That's a tall...
What does Coach Payton know about Michael Thomas?
Okay, so you have R.J. Harvey, the running back who the Broncos kind of controversially took in front of O'Marion Hampton and another couple running backs who, to the Mel Kipers and the draft Knicks of the world were higher-rated guys. So then you have a slew of 4 or 5 undrafted free agents, and then 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th round draft picks. Mark, where were you drafted?
6th round, 6B.
Drafted in the 6th round back in the day.
6B.
What's the B all about?
What does that mean?
6A. So that's your trivia question.
Okay.
Write in the comments. Who was the Broncos 6A, their first pick in the 6th round in the year 1986?
What? So if the Broncos picked
They had two
in 2024, would we call them 2A and 2B?
Yeah. Well, no, in the same round.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you had 3 picks in the 3rd round, there's A, B, and C.
Okay.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah.
I was 6B.
6B.
Who was 6A? Who was 6A?
Orson Mobley.
No way.
Oh, really?
The University of Winston-Salem College or whatever. Yeah.
My top 3 favorite horses.
Florida State guy. What about
So check this out. To the point.
Wells.
Huge fan.
To the point of the conversation a little bit, how many rounds of the NFL draft were there back in your day? 12. 12 rounds.
12 rounds.
There's 7 rounds today. Okay, there's 12 rounds back then, and you have a bunch of unsigned.
Still would have made it today.
Well,
Yeah.
That's good news.
while that's true, and we can get into that as we get further along in the conversation, how many players were invited to training camp in Greeley back in your day? How many?
About 112.
112 were there from day one, and you
Yeah.
beat it down to you would have 50
100 plus.
or, 60 guys. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
So when you're a 6th-round pick in a draft of 12 guys, if you're a 6th-round pick, Mark, I imagine the 8th, 9th, 10th-round pick, whoever that may be at any position, could be as good, as talented, better than you, and not you in general, you in theory, of any draft, whether it be in, what year was your draft?
1986.
86.
Yeah.
Or the draft of, what is this year of today we're in?
2025.
It's 2025.
Yeah.
So my point, Mark, is if
What's
you're
the question?
an unsung, undrafted, or late round pick for the Denver Broncos, you're going to have 80 guys-ish at camp there, all hungry, all accomplished college players. Mark, how do you stand out? How do you make a difference? How do you stand out from all of these other players, let alone all the young players, desperate, hungry, and talented to make a team like you once were?
So at the receiver position, speed kills, right? So speed is something that is a spoken language in the NFL. They figure if you have speed, they can coach you on all the other things. So what I had was speed, and I don't think most people recognize that across the NFL. So the Broncos were with their crackpot, awesome scouting unit. I can't think of his last name now. I thought I would remember his name for life, but he's the guy that picked me, and he,
Ken Harrell.
It wasn't Ken Harrell. No.
From the Hot.
Oh, from the Hofbrau. No, it wasn't Ken Harrell, but I can't think of his last name, but he was a scout that came out to Purdue. They timed me. Whenever Jim Everett was, throwing with someone, I asked Jim to, call me up. I'll go catch the balls for you. I was never really looked at. I was like, not a sought after.
So when did you think you were going to get drafted in one of the 12 rounds?
I did not think I was going to get drafted.
So it was a total shock. You
I
were
had
like waiting
total
by
free
the
agency
phone.
mindset. Nah,
Rotary phone?
I was not. Rotary phone. I was at a hotel in Bloomington, Indiana.
Yeah.
My agent had 3 first-round draft choices, which was great that year. They were all defensive backs.
Yeah.
Benzie Glenn, Wayne Davis, a first-round draft choice, and Lewis Billups.
Okay.
So Cincinnati's first round, Lewis Billups. Wayne Davis went to who did he go to first? Anyway, I can't remember who he played with. And
So
Vince
your agent had a busy.
Oh, he had 3 first-rounders.
round.
Yeah, he had 3 first-rounders. And then he had Mark Jackson and some other guy was with it, didn't get drafted.
Okay, well, Mark, for a guy who they say Pat Bryant. Wait, who's Pat Bryant?
Yeah.
Was mocked to be a 6th-round pick.
You mock me.
So the Broncos
traded
took
up.
him in the 3rd round, made
Yeah.
a couple moves as they're trading down. The kid made a couple moves back up. Pat Bryant is a guy who they kind of like to. Doesn't have ridiculous speed.
No, 4.61.
Yep, he doesn't.
Yeah, but is there football speed and straight line speed?
Jerry Weiss had football speed.
Yeah, I mean, were you faster?
Yes.
Were you faster in a straight line, or were you faster?
Were you faster with pads off or faster with pads on?
Faster would pass on. Yeah.
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 Well, because
So
they
that's
all
the other
got
thing.
pads on when you got pads on. That's the thing. It's
Yeah,
like,
but who can carry their pads?
Yeah.
that's
What
my
do you
point.
think?
Yeah. Anyone can run in a straight line in underwear,
Absolutely. I wasn't a sprinter speed. I wasn't a track guy.
but you got
But
the
you
juice.
put my pads
Okay.
on. I ran just as fast.
So, Mark, you said the speed stuff. I need to know more of.
That's what separates you. But really what separates you, Danny, is
Yeah.
when they see the speed, it's okay, this guy, let's look at this guy. But the other thing is being able to, and I said the eye in the sky don't lie, being able to perform. So when the coaches are seeing it real time, there's lots of things going on. So they don't they can't see one
And how
particular
many
player.
reps.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, but they see fast.
But they go when they look at the film where they can rewind it, they can stop it, they
Lots
can
of guys
pause it,
are fast.
and this
though,
guy
Jeff.
is like where he's supposed to be.
I mean, like, what? Okay, say this guy is
Maybe speed isn't just fast. Maybe speed is fast and quickness with the ability to separate or something like that.
Break yards after the
Like
catch.
maybe speed is,
watch this.
Stretch the defense.
Watch this, Jeff and Mark. You're super fast. You're actually a 9 out of 10, and everyone else in the NFL is at least an 8, but you're got one more gear or tier above. What if you're an asshole and you don't really into your playbook and you're not as mature as other guys? How does that stuff weigh out to the 9 athlete, to the 7.5 athlete, but the 10
right?
work skills,
how many
playbook
FBA
skills, all that kind of stuff? Where were
Does your
you?
brain
Where did
get
you
you?
rank? Because I don't want to bring back the, Ricky Natil was supposed to be like the most naturally skilled and talented. Vance Johnson was, very unique and talented and productive in his own ways. But the guy, maybe the most unsung of heroes of those three amigos was you, Mark, and you're kind of the hero of them all.
Yeah. Well,
Ricky's a first rounder. Vance is a second rounder.
Right.
And Mark Jackson was a 6th round B. 6B draftee.
I think timing is everything. So
Wait, in life or timing on the field, catching the ball?
in life and everything, but in particular,
It helps when you're trying to get a first down too, though.
you're in a place where
timing.
it's timing, it's luck, it's where you're drafted.
Trust?
I mean, I got drafted by the Denver Broncos where Dan Reeves was anal about knowing your playbook, knowing where you were. I knew all the positions. I understood the plays and what the play was designed to do, not just, I got a curl on this route.
Yeah.
I was actually just talking with the offensive coordinator for Louisiana Tech football. He was out scouting one of the kids.
Raging Cajuns?
And he said, Mark, I just try to dumb it down for the players. I don't need them to know everything. So we signal to each player that's on the field. All you got to do is look over at the coach. And I'm just nodding thinking, oh, my God.
Got no chance.
Maybe you guys might win some games, but they're not getting set up for the NFL.
Yeah.
Because the NFL is not going to dumb it down.
So
They're not holding,
Homer Simpson.
yeah,
And
right.
like, yeah.
Purple.
Right.
Kale.
Upside down.
Hey,
right,
purple. Switch it.
Yeah.
Triangle.
Right.
I mean,
Stewie.
when I heard that, I love the guy. I mean, I love his heart. He wanted everybody to have a chance to be successful. But unfortunately, that doesn't translate to the NFL. And if that's your ultimate goal, then you want to set them up.
So are the Broncos right now, and then Jeff, don't forget what you're going to say, as guys are internally learning playbooks, getting work in, they're showing their maturity or not, and maybe their smarts and their, who's, I don't know,
Tenacious.
speaking through their
Showing up.
agent and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
Is that kind of stuff right now hitting home, or is like, do the Broncos know guys draft a little bit higher, he's got a little cocky, he's going to be a little bit of attitude, and the guys who are hungrier are going to go be hungry?
I think they understand all of that. And I don't know if there's any, when you put on the helmet, unlike college football, someone's the
Stickers?
Yeah, I mean,
stickers.
well, in college, you got a scholarship, so they got some money invested in you into your success. In the NFL, it's a level playing field, really. Unfortunately, I shouldn't say unfortunately, fortunately or unfortunately, if you're a first, second, third rounder, you pretty much got a spot on the team. There's been a few busts in the NFL.
It's a guarantee, yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
but once anything below that, third, fourth, even late third, fourth, fifth, sixth rounders,
Yeah,
you got to make the team.
I think so too.
You got to set yourself apart, and it's all about the reps that you get.
Your draft board and a team's draft board to where they take a guy in the 4th or 5th round, that guy is definitely not necessarily better than the undrafted free agent from a big school. It's just how, maybe
So much talent out there.
circumstances, agent, smart,
What school you're at,
rep, meeting. how
Okay,
you
let's
did
go back to
interview.
the comp.
opportunity.
What?
Who was the comp?
Of?
Pat Bryant.
Oh, we're talking about comparing them to Michael Thomas?
Well, we're talking about like where you were drafted. We're talking about Michael Thomas. Like we're kind of talking
Michael
about
Thomas was
bringing it
taken in
back.
the 2nd round.
Yeah,
And Pat Bryant was taken in the 3rd round.
So we were talking about speed. Does he have the speed? And then
No,
kind of-
that's what's surprising about it.
But did Michael Thomas ever have the speed?
No, never.
But he was a hell of a receiver, wasn't he?
Yeah.
So does Pat Bryant need the speed, or does 4.61 get him by?
Well, we'll see. I'll put it this way. We'll see. What the Broncos are intrigued about this kid is his toughness and his size.
That matters.
So, and he knows that. I saw an interview with him saying, hey, Illinois, I had to be tough. I was, tough blocking before I was out there catching passes.
They win games a different way in Illinois.
How did Alvin Kamara get all those free yards?
Oh, watch this.
Downfield.
Do you know who another guy who played in a weird gimmicky offense that receivers were never featured in? Demarius Thomas, Georgia Tech. Calvin Johnson.
Demarius Thomas,
Georgia Tech.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See? So what
out there?
I mean, again, the Denver Broncos chose Demarius Thomas over Dez Bryant.
Yeah.
So Dez had a brilliant career as well as Demarius did, but
Dez ain't got no rings.
Demarius Thomas was unproven. They thought raw. And, that would give Coach McDaniels a little bit of credit.
That was the Tebow draft.
That was Tebow. Then 2 picks later, you go get you Demarius Thomas.
Wow.
And what happened with those guys, just, and not that short a time later,
That's how you beat the Steelers.
overtime against the Steelers, that's one of the greatest plays in NFL history. A top 50 play in NFL history. Demarius runs right off the field, and the rest is history. Okay, that's kind of the podcast. Is there any last things, Mark, you wanted to get in here besides, check this out. So we got this, wicked setup here. We got a sophisticated camera system. We got a backdrop. All this stuff here behind us, green screen. It's not even real. None of this is real. It's all CGI generated. It's AI. We ask Siri for it, and she pops it up like this.
Boom.
So what I'm saying is, we got all these cameras, all this mess, all this kind of stuff that it's been hard for us to get organized. Now, as we're 8 shows in, we got a routine. We're organized. We're put together with the help of who, Mark?
IntentionalSpacesDenver.com. Free consultation. Here's the thing.
Yeah.
If you're feeling like I'm having some issues, I don't know about you, but when everything's cluttered, I know where everything is, right? I'm that guy, but it tends to fuck my mind a little bit. It actually makes me feel a little less efficient when everything's cleaned up. So I used to have someone that would clean my desk at the office. And it was always nice to come and have a clean desk because I felt free to work. IntentionalSpaces.com will do that for you. They'll give you a free consultation. We'll get you all cleaned up. There's no judgment. I don't care how messy you think it is. I don't care what big or small of a size job it is. Give them a call. Check them out. That's all we're asking you to do because I think you will absolutely agree.
Okay.
Cleanliness equals peacefulness.
There you go.
Keep the peace.
Just a couple of minutes left. We had a chance to collectively hear the three of us, the trio, watch a little bit of the end of the Timberwolves and the Thunder game 4, which Minnesota did every last thing until the very end of that game and strategically fouling to try to find a way to get a last-second shot, whether it be a game tire or a game winner. But the Timberwolves are a tier, a cut, maybe 2 tiers below the ascending Oklahoma City Thunder. Jalen Williams, the team's so good they got 2 Jalen Williams. Okay? Yeah, it's spelled different ways.
Yeah.
Chet Holmgren, who is now kind of a part of that big 3, had another huge night. Yeah. And Shea is just unsung hero because I hate Shea in the sense of I want to dog Shea because I feel like he took an MVP away from Jokic. Okay.
Yeah.
But Shea gives you 30
he
plus
played that way tonight. He played MVP.
He took a finals MVP away from Jokic.
Yeah, but bro, Shea's giving you 30 plus and he's getting you 8 and 6 too. And Jokic is a big body, so he can get you those assist numbers and those rebound numbers in a different fashion.
Right.
But Shea's not just going and scoring 35 on 30 shots and not hitting the boards and no dishes. This guy's complete. He's special. It's hard for me to believe in a Canadian athlete.
Only 7 of them.
But Shea is truly special, and they got that.
Take off, you hoser.
Yeah, they got that series locked down. The series that's now back. Yeah, the Knicks were down 20 points being down 3-0 and being cooked. They come down 20 points to win that game.
Yeah. Hey, Carl.
Yeah, that feels like that series.
That's what the Timberwolves are missing is the cat man, Karl Anthony Towns.
Well, as we talked about with Michael Malone and David Adelman, you take one out, you bring another one in, you get to the same spot. So it'll be interesting to see if you take one out, Karl Anthony Towns, you put Julius Randle in, do you get the same spot? And vice versa with the Knicks.
Yeah, those guys actually.
When you add Karl Anthony, do you get to a next level? And we'll see. You never know.
Yeah. Brunson, 10 for 10 on free throws down the stretch. Hart crashing the boards. They win that game tonight. Or this last that keeps them in the series.
We're in the midst of the middle of both of those series, and we'll be back in a couple days with another show here. And we'll have a chance to be in the middle, truly in the middle of those series. Conference finals, it looks like we're going to have a new NBA champion here, looks like...
it's going to be somewhere in middle America.
It's at America.
It's like Oklahoma City or Indiana. What do you think? Is that the NBA's worst nightmare?
What do you think?
If it's OKC, if it's like Omaha, somewhere in middle America, it's just some, it's some Counting Crows song.
That's right.
Yeah.
Or do you want big cities?
Everybody wants New York.
You could have Minneapolis
because they're a big market.
OKC.
They're a big market.
We got our palatial studio here, right? We're working on lighting all the time. If Oklahoma City wins this thing, baby, lock them doors and burn your lights down low. Yeah, OKC's got that collegiate atmosphere. I mean, there is something to the NBA wanting new brands and franchises to reach the mountaintop to make every other franchise think they can do it. But do you know what? Things come in ebbs and flows. The league might want there to find, a dynasty again in a couple few years.
Do you see Indiana Pacers being the champions?
I do not.
I do not either.
Because I can just tell you this, guys. Alice Jean turned 9 years old on the 7th.
Alice Jean.
It's a good kid.
And on April 6th,
AJ.
Player.
We went to April 6th game against the Indiana Pacers, and they absolutely worked the Nuggets.
Yeah.
And they were a good team inside. They were a good team out.
Quick. I was watching
They were quick. Their defense, they get back on.
But
Indiana is kind of sick, guys.
Listen,
Don't snooze.
Alex is a great kid. I love Alice.
Love you, baby.
Love Alice.
But I know there's a but.
Yeah.
But
indoors and turn them.
What's been true in the West for some time here, and we thought the East and what the Celtics did last year. Okay, for 1 year, a one-off, because this year the East is just a complete tier down above what the West is. Below. And the Thunder look like man beaters, and I think the Timberwolves would beat either teams in the East as well.
I think the Pacers are kind of dope.
Well, I wish we had more time to talk about it.
Well, we do in just a couple days.
Yeah,
that's been episode 8 of The Elevation on Fan Day Nation. Mark Jackson right here, number 80, Broncos icon, a legend.
He's the best number 80.
Jeff Gershon, Danny Williams here. Legends might be strong. Folk heroes, more like folk. We appreciate you guys any way you listen and tune in and get a piece of this podcast.
Make sure you subscribe.
React to us.
Tell a friend.
The energy and the participation from you guys, that kind of stuff.
We need it.
We love it. That's
Get
why
on
we do
board.
this thing every single.
They're gonna fire
on it. So yeah,
we got this, McMahon.
Oh shoot!
No, we gotta go, guys.
We gotta go. For Mark Jackson and Jeff Gersh, I am Danny Williams. We appreciate you guys, and we love you guys. Good night, Sheila.
Good night.
And never forget tonight.